Hey everyone, welcome. So if you've ever found yourself just staring at a graph on the ACT science section, feeling your brain kind of short circuit, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we are going to crack the code on one of the biggest hurdles in this section, figuring out if you even have enough info to answer the question in the first place. All right, let's get right into it.
I want you to forget all the complicated chemistry and physics for just a second. Because at its heart, a lot of the ACT science section is asking you a really simple question. Based only on the stuff they've given you, can this question actually be answered? It's just a yes or no. That's it. That's the game. And trust me, once you realize that, everything starts to change.
So this first piece of the puzzle is all about a total mindset shift. We need to stop hunting for the right answer, just for a moment. Instead, we're going to focus on what the test is actually asking you to do. And that brings us to this key idea, data sufficiency. This isn't about doing complex calculations, not at all. It's about looking at the evidence, the tables, the graphs, the descriptions, and deciding if you have enough information to even get started. Your job isn't to be the mathematician, it's to be the judge who decides if the math is even possible. This right here, this completely changes your role on test day. You're shifting gears. You're no longer a student just trying to find the one right answer. Nope. You are now a data detective, and your job is to simply decide if an answer is even possible. A good detective always knows when they don't have enough clues to close the case. Okay, so how does a good data detective know when to stop? How do you spot a dead end? Well, you learn to look for the red flags. So let's break down the exact clues that are going to scream at you, hey, the information just isn't here. These are the four big ones, your main red flags. First up, a required variables is missing. The question asks for density, but they only gave you the mass. You can't do it. Insufficient. Second, the units don't match, and there's no way to convert them. The chart is in miles per hour, but the question wants meters per second. Insufficient. Third, and this is a big one, the specific condition wasn't tested. The experiment ran at 10, 20, and 30 degrees, but the question asks about what happened at 25 degrees. You can't just guess. It's insufficient. And finally, the value you need is literally off the chart. The graph ends at 50 seconds, but the question is about 100 seconds. Insufficient. If you spot any of these, you've found your answer. All right, so now that you know what to look for, you need a process you can repeat, a solid game plan you can use on every single question without even thinking about it. So here it is. This is your blueprint for success. This 5-step strategy is going to be your new best friend. Step 1 is absolutely crucial. Read the question first. Know exactly what you're looking for before you even look at the data. Then step 2, find the right table or graph. Step 3 is where you put on your detective hat. Check for all those red flags we just talked about. Do you have all the pieces? Step 4, make the call. Is it sufficient or not? And finally, step 5, and this one is so important. Trust yourself. Don't overthink it. Trust your assessment and move on. And if you ever start to doubt that last step, just burn this quote into your brain. If the ACT wanted you to calculate more, they would give you the data. Seriously, the test isn't trying to trick you with some hidden formula. It's testing your ability to evaluate information, plain and simple. If a piece of the puzzle is missing, it's missing on purpose. Now, knowing this strategy is half the battle, for sure, but now we have to talk about the common traps, the little things that cause even the sharpest detectives to get tripped up. Let's make sure you don't make these mistakes. It's funny, most people think the biggest mistakes on the science section are about messing up the math. But the truth is, the most critical errors are actually mistakes in judgment. They happen the second you decide to do something that the data doesn't actually let you do. So let's get really specific here. The number one trap is trying to calculate something when the question just asks if you can. Another one is assuming data that isn't there. If it's not on the graph, it does not exist for the purposes of this test. And that includes bringing in outside knowledge from your science class. On the ACT, if it's not in the passage, it's a trap. And finally, don't confuse a general trend, like, oh, the temperature is going up, with a precise, exact value at a point they never measured. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. We've talked about the mindset, the red flags, the 5-step strategy, and all the traps to avoid. So now, let's boil all of this down into one simple, powerful formula you can take with you on test day. But before we get to that final formula, let's do a quick rapid-fire round of takeaways. First, always be asking yourself, can I answer this question using only what is printed on this page? If your brain starts to fill in a blank or make an educated guess, Just stop. That's your signal that the data is not sufficient. The ACT never, ever expects you to make assumptions. And please, for the love of all that is good, read every single label. Access labels, table headings, units. That's where all the clues are hiding. And here it is. This is the master key. This is your formula for success. Sufficient data means you have all the required variables, you're looking at the specifically tested conditions, and you have usable units. If any single one of those pieces is missing from the equation, you know what the answer is? It's insufficient data. It really is that simple.
So as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with this thought. The ACT science section isn't this impossible wall they built just to stop you. It's really just a puzzle waiting for you to solve it. And now, you have the tools. You have the mindset. So the real question is, are you ready to stop being just a test taker and start being a data detective?